Have you heard about the eviction moratorium that was just announced? If not, pay attention. We're going to get into it. And if you have, I bet we're going to go over some things that you didn't know. And of course, get some opinions about why I think it may not be the best idea. Actually, might be a horrible idea. Okay, let's get into it. The new eviction moratorium that was announced last week by President Trump through an executive order, through the CDC. Well, we're going to just spend a little bit of time going over kind of what it is, what it isn't, and some of the issues that I see and how it really doesn't address or solve any problems that they're trying to solve. I mean, the first thing is the goal of this eviction moratorium is to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And that's the stated objective. They believe that if individuals are evicted, they're immediately going to become homeless, and because they're homeless, they're going to get COVID-19 immediately. And that just doesn't really hold water. So I've read through the actual document on the Federal Register. You can check it out, federalregister.gov. I'll post a link to it in the bottom of this video. But honestly, the New York Times does a better job of summarizing kind of what it is and what it is not. And so I'm just going to open up that article. The link to this will also be in the bottom of this video. So let's look at who is eligible. So there's a 5-pronged test for who may qualify to be exempt from being evicted from their rental property. So and you'll get the theme of this test and why I think there's some major issues. So you have to use your best efforts to obtain any and all forms of government rental assistance, best efforts. You can't expect to earn more than $99,000 in 2020 or about $200,000 if you're married. You must be experiencing a substantial loss of household income, a layoff, or extraordinary out-of-pocket medical expense, which it defines as exceeds 7.5% of your gross income. You have to be making your best efforts to make timely or partial payments that are as close to the full amount due as circumstances may permit. And the eviction would likely lead to either homelessness or having to move to a place that was more expensive, or you could get sick. You could get sick from being close to others. And as the New York Times lays out, a lot of this is pretty subjective, just a little. So best efforts, I made a call and it was busy. I made a good effort. Do you just have to say you've made an effort? You can't expect. That's a little easier because, obviously you have a W-2, tax returns. It's a little more quantifiable, but your expectation isn't necessarily a specific thing. I wasn't expecting to make 120. I was expecting to make 98,000, and look at that. There's so much uncertainty. How can anyone expect anything? So still, it's ambiguous. Substantial loss. I think substantial loss is also it can be interpreted many different ways. I mean, if I get cut from my job a few hours, I still may be able to pay rent, but in my book that may be substantial. So again, it's subjective. Again, on the next prong, the test, best efforts to make timely partial payments. I made my best effort. I tried. Then likely lead to homelessness. I think that you could maybe test that, but so many people could so easily say, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't thought about it. I could become homeless. I have a fear of becoming homeless. Most likely when people are evicted, they don't immediately become homeless. Certainly some do, and that's absolutely horrible. And, we should address through, our communities and our culture to prevent that from happening and provide resources for those who are going to become homeless. That's not what this really does, though. Most people move back in with their parents. They move in with family. They move in with roommates. They find somewhere cheaper to live. And essentially, you could just say you're making a best effort, but really not make much of an effort. Just you can believe you made a good effort. And you could also just say, well, I'll probably go homeless. Well, did you ask anyone else? Did you ask for help? Did you ask a community organization? Did you ask a church for assistance? Did you ask your family? Did you ask your friends? And some people don't have those resources. I'm not trying to downplay the circumstances that some people are in, but it's so subjective. My biggest problem with this is that, one, They're saying they're trying to prevent the spread of COVID-19. I don't see how this has anything to do with the spread of COVID-19. So the premise is totally off base, completely. But more than that, it confuses the system, it clogs up the system in general, and it creates more uncertainty, which adds resistance to any economic growth and the economic recovery. So what are the benefits? I mean, most landlords, not all, but most landlords are already doing all those things that they're mandating. So why the mandate? If you wanted to help address individuals having difficulty paying for housing, why not institute a program similar to the CARES Act that provided unemployment, additional unemployment benefits, additional stimulus checks? Interest rates are at 0%. And across the board, interest rates are at absolute record levels. So we're talking about free money. The government doesn't mind writing a check for trillions of dollars, whether that's going to different government organizations, state governments, corporations, different programs. We could afford to send checks directly to people who are having issues paying their rent. It would be much easier. It would be actually addressing the problem versus clouding the already murky waters and making it more confusing for everybody. It's confusing for owners, it's confusing for residents, it's confusing for lenders, it's confusing for local, state, municipalities, and it worsens the housing crisis. If we can't have a functioning system where business owners and entrepreneurs and property owners can make the decisions for their own property to most improve their property, their returns are going to decrease, investment will decrease, and no one will be able to afford to put money back into properties. If we don't continue to improve properties that are, becoming dilapidated, that are, in need of repair, those properties are going to go offline. There's a staggering amount of multifamily units that just go offline every single year. It's hundreds of thousands every single year. Sometimes in previous years, it's been more properties, more units have just gone offline because they're old, they're decrepit, and they're in need of significant repair. There's more of those properties go offline than our new units are being delivered. If investors don't buy those properties, invest capital, invest resources to fix those properties up, to improve them, to create an environment where someone can live, that supply goes offline. It's super basic supply and demand. Less supply with increasing demand, prices go up. If you have more supply, prices will at least remain somewhat stable. It's again why in California, the housing crisis is so bad. In Seattle, it's so bad because there's so much, NIMBYism, the not in my backyard mentality of, I don't want you to build an apartment here because I believe it's going to lower my property value. You own that land, it's your property, but I want to tell you how you can use that property. I'm not saying people should just be able to just do absolutely anything they want without getting community buy-in, but the result of that is less housing supply, more people wanting to live in those areas, and if there's a fixed amount of places to live and more people want to live there than there are places, then the prices are going to go up. And that's exactly what's happened in these municipalities, cities, and states that have this NIMBY mentality that have not allowed more construction. Or like in California where they've put rent control measures in, where doing a heavy value add project is considered illegal because you can only increase rents to a certain amount. Now you still can increase rents, and we don't have to get into the details of California rent control or the New York rent control. No one wants to invest there. No one wants to put more money into those properties. Unless you're from there and it's your backyard. And I mean, if you're going for appreciation, I'm not saying there's not a strategy that works, but a lot of caution. So this eviction moratorium, just in conclusion, I think clouds the waters. It's not a good idea. It doesn't help anybody. It just confuses everything. There are actual solutions. The government created most of this problem. The government shut down the economy, which put a lot of people out of work. The government has the ability to float those individuals with essentially free money. choosing not to do that, and instead they're taking an action that just confuses the system. Typical, politics as usual. Who's surprised? It's unfortunate though. So again, what do you think? Do you think this eviction moratorium actually makes sense? I'd love to get your thoughts. So, comment in the video below. My name is Spencer Gray. I'm the president of Gray Capital. We're a commercial real estate investment and asset management company. We specialize in multifamily housing. We invest in a variety of different classes in the multifamily spectrum, everything from value-add workforce housing all the way up to Class A luxury apartments. We believe there's opportunity just about everywhere, and we seek to find it. So go check us out, graycapitalllc.com. We put out a weekly newsletter that you're going to absolutely get a tremendous amount of value. We put tons of hours in every single week compiling the best news, research reports, data, analytics, our own proprietary articles. Gets delivered to your inbox every Thursday morning. You don't think it provides any value, unsubscribe, no worries at all. We'd love to hear from you, so get in touch with us either through our website, commenting below, sharing this video with your friends. My name is Spencer Gray. I hope you have a great day and stay safe out there. All right.